Hey up everybody, thanks for joining me once again, and today I have my Zombie Army VR review. And if you're one of those people that are expecting a full reconstruction in VR of the original Zombie Army, then you, my friend, are definitely going to be wanting to watch right up until the end. Hit them like and subscribe buttons, editor, run that montage.
Well, that's quite cool, that's where I was before. Hey! What the hell is going on? That was quite cool. What? How are they coming up here? Shut up. Yo!
We can reassign the camp and clear a path to our location.
Okay, so if you're a fan of the original and played through it and enjoyed it, then it's probably no surprise that you're thinking,
this isn't quite the same.
so with that in mind, here's a brief explanation. And as stated here, basically from an interview, Zombie Army VR is a complete experience with full campaign that is playable both in single player and or with a friend via online cooperative play. The campaign is set across 7 different missions, each with various individual chapters, so there is plenty of gameplay for you to enjoy. They also go on and say there is also a high level of replayability in there as you seek out score multipliers and hunt down the various unlocks and hidden items in each of the chapters. The game could also be played in multiplayer, as I mentioned, and also there is a horde mode incoming, so it looks like they're actually going to be supporting the game after its release. The good. Zombie Army VR can be played seated or standing, and the movement is actually quite decent. I only had a few problems within it, and I'll come back to those in a bit. I found no problems moving around the campaign areas. Reloading the weapons I felt was a little bit simple, but I also felt like because of the amount you were doing on screen, it was probably a good idea to make it that way. I like the fact that there was an upgrade system to a point, and the way that in general it kept you on your toes by bombarding you quite often with a decent amount of walkers. Bosses were also a welcome addition to split up the gameplay. Zombie Army is a pretty linear experience with you wandering through different areas, sometimes being trapped in certain areas, with the only way of gaining access to go forward is by taking down a certain amount of walkers. And this range from defending yourself, defending an area, or indeed having to go and fetch and bring back certain elements in order to make certain other things work. The weapons were quite varied to a certain point, and the inclusion of melee weapons and weapons that can be used to explode walkers in various different ways kind of added a little bit of a tactical twist to the gameplay. Thrown into this, having healing injections and only the ability to carry a certain amount of items at one time. The bad. Okay, starting with the obvious, there are a certain amount of walkers in there. Some are actually pretty decent, like exploding, ones with like things on their head so it's harder to kill, and even ones that fire at you. But I'm not quite sure whether these were enough, as once you've seen them all, that is, you've seen them all the way through the game. And it's the same with the weapons. Once you've used all the weapons and picked them all up, that is it, you're done until the end of the game. The other problem was mostly all the weapons kind of felt the same, and the upgrade system, I did use these, and you have to find like these toolboxes in order to like get one upgrade, but upon using them they kind of felt empty, like you hadn't done anything. It really didn't make much difference at all to the actual gameplay. And if like myself you came into the game thinking, oh, those X-ray kills, they're going to be awesome, awesome. Well, I didn't actually get that many of them, and it would seem like you have to hit them in very specific places in order for that to happen. On top of this, there was nowhere near as many different variations of it that I would have actually liked to have seen. And also using the sniper, the amount of sniper ammo that they throw around the levels, I kind of like thought I'd be using the sniper a lot more. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was really cool to use. You can bring the scope up to your eye and it goes into the scope mode. You can zoom slightly in as well. It was all fantastic. It just wasn't used that much, and when it did get high levels of usage, it was on parts of the levels where basically the walkers were funneled down to you, so there was kind of almost no skill within it. Graphics and sound. I felt the graphics were, for the MetaQuest 3, okay. I kind of felt I've seen better though. And those X-ray kills kind of lost something, some spark, some real wow factor about them. There just wasn't anything like that in this game. I also found that whilst there was quite a bit of blood within the game, there were times when I was shooting walkers and no blood or anything had come out. Maybe they were just really old walkers and there was nothing inside. Sound wise, on a whole, the sound wasn't too bad. The guns made an okay sound and reloading sounded pretty dapper as well. It was voiced where needed to voice and to tell you what you were doing, which was pretty cool. And for me, the walkers sounded menacingly enough. In fact, some of them sounded quite comical, like the exploding ones heading towards you. The score. Now, I did enjoy my time within Zombie Army VR. It wasn't as bad as I've heard, but it kind of wasn't as good as I was hoping for. And I kind of feel like that's why this hasn't got a premium price attached to it, which to me is a good thing. I'm not 100% sure why, but I kind of have a feeling that something has happened during the making of this game, as it kind of felt like it was going in one direction and they had an idea of what they wanted to do, but something kind of changed as they started making the game. If you've ever played Arizona Sunshine 1 or 2, you kind of feel all the way through that game that they had a plan and they've stuck to that plan, and no matter what problems they came across, they were getting past them and they were making the game that they wanted to. Zombie Army VR kind of felt like the same, but when they came across a few problems, they kind of thought, maybe we should skip that bit, and maybe we don't need to put as many of them in. As for the score, I'm going to be giving Zombie Army VR a 6 out of 10, mainly because I think they've priced this quite well for what you get, and also I have had fun playing it, and I will be going back for that Horde mode when it comes out, and maybe if I can find a friend, maybe play a bit of multiplayer. That's your lot. Thank you very much for joining me. Hit them like and subscribe buttons, and if you want to know one of the best and free ways of supporting the channel, watch them adverts. Until next time, make every shot count.